since we're already talking about Kyle Shanahan, I already wrote this down. I have been, racking my brain, basically trying to figure out how our offense is going to look like if possibly no Brandon Ayuk, no Debo. Even though I heard Debo's looking really good when he's running, I think Debo's going to play week 1. That's just me, though. You know what I'm saying? I think it's just wishful thinking. You know what I mean?
Who's about to say?
And he said something in his press conference that really made me, open my eyes and say, okay, this is what we're going to do. He said, it's kind of tough running 21 personnel with only one fullback in training camp, especially if you only have one guy to do it. Josh Hogan will do it for the whole practice. And even though I know he was exhausted, he stood up and he continued to play. Showed me a lot. That lets me know right there, fellas. We're going to be running a lot of 21 personnel. It's going to look like the Vikings in the Green Bay game in the playoffs. People are going to try to stack the box, and I think we're just going to manhandle them, especially with Trent Williams. But let's not talk about that. Let's keep on with the caveat. All right. So basically, I want to hear from everybody on what you think the offense is going to look like, and if 21 personnel is going to be the answer. To you, Bronze, you pick the order. Who you want to talk about?
Let's go with Jason.
So 21 personnel, I mean, clearly they're going to run that. But here's the issue. It's like, okay, so what are the two tight ends going to be? Is it going to be Warner and is it going to be Kittle? Which will kind of tip the hand that it could be a run more likely than anything, right? If Jordan Reed and Kittle are on the field, it might tip the hand that it might be a pass. But you could run to Kittle's direction and disguise that. I just don't want the 49ers to get into a predictable, look. Like, if they're out there with just Warner and like, Warner and Kittle out there, then that I would bet 55-60% of the time that's probably a run. So I'm not certain how much they're going to really run that. And in the red zone, I just really like, from everything that I've been reading, Jordan Reed is going to get his burn in the red zone and on third down. And that's all I thought that was always my case from the beginning. It's like, we don't need to put Jordan Reed in a space where we have to rely on him for everything. But if we can use him situationally and keep him fresh, goodness gracious, in the red zone, that's going to be hard to defend. And that's all they're thinking right now. So it depends on it. Again, the personnel isn't really going to tip it's going to be the people on the field. I feel like that will tip the play either way, one way or the other.
Bro, okay, I'm gonna real quick. This is Kyle Shanahan. We're talking about, man.
No, I know. Look, I get it.
He is the man.
I get
He's the king.
Everything. I get it.
Yes,
I get it.
yes.
But
he's not gonna tip his hand straight up.
Warner is a little bit more of a blocker right now than he is a route runner at this point, right? And his reputation is like the best blocking tight end in college.
Hey, guess who Jimmy was throwing to today when he got picked?
Warner. See, he's not a route runner. Sometimes he doesn't flatten routes correctly. He
can't get himself open. He can't get himself open.
Right. That's what I mean. So
Harold can. Dwelly can. Warner can. Yeah. Warner can do other things.
He's a blocker. And I think that they want to use him. It's like Dre said. I think they want to use him in case anything happens to Juice. They can put him in that same spot and use him similarly. Where
I didn't do that though. It's been Hokett who's been.
Okay. Go right.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about that. Like, do you get the sense that because Kyle is going to be a free agent next year, that maybe they want to see what they have in this kid and see if they can duplicate what they got with Kyle for much cheaper?
I think they want to bring
Kyle. Let's get Grant's take on how he thinks the offense is going to.
Oh, yes. Okay, fair. I think it's going to look pretty much a lot like last year. A lot of 21 personnel. I think there's going to be more Mostert. I think they're going to give him more touches because you kind of need to see what he can do with more touches. No one's ever really shut him down. So they're going to get him involved more. And then Jordan Reed, just as Jason was saying, they're going to kind of use him as a slot receiver. I don't think he's going to be blocking much. I don't think he's going to be on the field much on first down. Just use Werner for that or whatever. But on third down, he's a better player than Trent Taylor. I mean, in the red zone, he's a better player than Kendrick Bourne.
He's right.
Just Jordan Reed.
He's right, Trey.
If you think about it, like on third down, everyone's worried about Kittle, or in the red zone, everyone's worried about Kittle. And Shanahan's thinking like, okay, well, I get Jordan Reed one-on-one against who you got. Like, that's his secret weapon this year. So they're going to save him, keep him fresh, not have him block very much, but that's their new slot receiver. It's like what Jalen Hurd could have been. No, it's Jordan Reed now. So I think it's going to be, as long as he's healthy, he's going to be the number. I mean, it's going to be Kittle, Debo, him, and Ayuk. It's going to be a really nice quartet of targets for Jimmy Garoppolo. He really should have a good year, man. He should have a good year. There should be a lot of receivers open, and he shouldn't be locking in and throwing picks. He should be money this year.
Dre,
I'm so happy to hear that.
What you think, Dre?
I kind of agree. I basically agree with what both Jason and Grant said, like, I think it's going to be a lot of the same type of formations, but I think the game plan is going to look drastically different. I think that everybody's going to come out and they're going to think that we're going to be trying to run the ball, and Kyle's going to say, "Nuh-uh,
Play action time.
nope, yep,
Play action time.
Grant, yep." That's
Let me
Especially
put Jet-
early in the
let me
season
put
while the
Jet in
wide
there.
receivers are hurt, especially.
hey, it's going to be crazy, and just being able to add Jerick McKinnon and Jordan Reed to this offense is really going to help. I really don't think that people understand that, and everybody's worried about the offensive line, and I think Trent Williams makes our offensive line just that much better. Garland's going to be back before the season. Brunskill gets to slide back over to guard.
One thing real quick, I want to tell you, we're talking about we're going to see more deep passes this year. What I saw them do a lot in camp is practice deep throws to running backs, because Jimmy is just not that super comfortable throwing the deep pass down the field to wide receivers, but the wheel routes to Juszczyk, to McKinnon, to Hasty, I mean, every day. So that might be something to look for.
I have a question that I was gonna. I swear you just took the thought out of my mind. I had a question. Like, have you seen them line up McKinnon in the slot? Because I know he's been with linebackers. That's what I want to hear.
Not just the slot, wide. So you know that play where they'll like line up Juszczyk out wide, and then he'll run the slant with blockers out in front.
Yep.
They'll run that with McKinnon now, and they'll do it in the red zone.
Ooh, imagine that.
That's perfect.
It'll be great.
And then the wheel route that he's talking about, guys, like if you notice, like in the Seattle game in week 17, right when Seattle started punching right back, Kyle did right into the wheel route, and he put it right in Kyle's breadbasket, and that was when Kendricks tore his ACL right then, right on that play.
Trying to take down Deuce.
like if the number one wrinkle of last year was the end around, at least in training camp, the number one wrinkle has been the wheel route to the running backs, and because they're all fast. They're some of the fastest players in the team. They're faster than the wide receivers, really.